What is going on, everybody? This is Dan from Dan Moto Music, and today we're going to be talking about being a beginner composer, writer, musician, someone that's just trying to make music. Instrument doesn't matter. It could be a clarinet if you're trying to get better at your melodies. It could be a guitar, solos. It could be riffs. It could be whatever instrument. I play piano and guitar primarily, so I'm going to be focusing today on the guitar. So go ahead and sit back and let's just talk for a bit and get you some ideas of how to get started on this. All right, guys, as a writer or a composer, you have to start somewhere. It doesn't matter if you don't feel like you're at the right skill level. It doesn't matter if it sounds amazing right now, but you have to get started. That is always the golden rule. You have to start. The next thing is you got to keep it simple. What you hear in your head versus what you can play on your guitar or your other instrument can be two different things. That's okay. The more you practice writing, the more you're going to be able to bridge that gap to what you hear in your head. And sometimes what you hear in your head and as you compose may turn out different for the better. So now let's go ahead and talk about the instrument. So it's a little feel, it's a little knowledge, and it's a little ear. So what do I mean by that? What you hear in your head could be like a riff, like a dun da 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 dun da 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 dun da 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 dun. So if I hear that, I'm going to start maybe with the sixth string. Okay, now I hear that and I know I can make a chord with that because that's the E string. I know I can make an E5 chord. Don't worry about if you know what chords are or whatever. It's feel. So I'm going to hold this note. I like that so far, but I feel like I can add more. So let me add the third fret and the second fret. Obviously, guys, this is pre-made, you know, so don't worry. I'm not doing this off the cuff, even though I could, but I'm just giving you ideas. So now, cool, but you know what? It lacks a little percussiveness, so I'm going to add this. And that's as simple as it can be, guys. Now, obviously, that is just one idea. You would have to do this again and again and again and again. For the melodic players, let's say if you hear notes in your head and you hear like a ba-da-da-da-da-da or something like that. If you know your scales, that helps. But I'm going to just start this. I'm going to keep it in A minor. If you don't know what that means, it doesn't matter, guys. The point is you choose notes that feel like they make sense to you. I'm just going this with more of a guide already, just because I'm already there. But composing could be as easy as I put two notes together that I like. So if I already hear this improvising, like let's say if I hear this in my head like this note. Do you see how I was able to sing the notes as I played them? That is years of practice. What I hear in my head, I improvise through my instrument. You know, it's speaking through me, and I've been playing the better part of 28 to 30 years already. So this is something I've developed over time. But let's give you a different example with how notes now can be put together just by sound. So what I mean by that, guys, is this. Let's say you have the sixth string, and then you want to just match something with the fifth string like this. I like how that sounds already. It sounds fuller than just the sixth string. All I'm doing is I'm doubling the E. I'm playing an E on the fifth string and an E on the sixth. But now I want to go somewhere with it. I want to add some tension. I feel like it's going to add tension if I maybe go lower by one fret. It didn't sound as good, but how about if I go two? I kind of like that. What happens if I do a walk down? That actually came out cool. I kind of heard that in my head, no, 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 no. I just kind of went with it. It doesn't matter. That could be your lick for the day. But the idea is you got to start building ideas. Now notice I just added it with tension. I just kind of walked the frets up and down. Let's see if I go the other way, what happens? that one was a little too sour for me. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to skip a fret. I kind of like that. So let's put them together now. So we got... Honestly, guys, I made that one up on the spot. Is it my best lick in the world? No. Is this something I can use? Possibly. And what I'll do after that is I'm going to record it, and I'm going to put it in a kind of like most people nowadays, they have SD cards. They can throw them in. They can just leave them on the computer. Always back up your stuff. I even do double backups. I have old tapes from when I was 12. I still have them. I've been practicing this since 12, actually, composing. So this is something I've been building the better part of 28 years. That's why I was able to improvise that. But once again, it's a little feel. I kind of felt where it was going. I kind of listened to what was going on. I kind of, used a little knowledge. I know that sixth string with what I was doing would sound good with that kind of idea. So I kind of went with something I knew, but I wasn't sure what I was going to build. I could build different rhythms on it. You get the idea. It's just you can build. You have to take time to learn these things, guys. It's not going to be built overnight. So let's keep going. Once again, guys, you want to think of this as sketching. I don't know if I said that earlier, but you do. You want to just sketch for a while. If you're going to be composing, sketching is going to be your best friend. The more ideas you have, the better you're going to get. And just so you know, when people make albums, that's why sometimes they release a B-side album to a previous album, because they had a bunch of ideas they wanted to put on the album. Either they didn't make sense with the other songs, maybe they didn't have an ending to a song, something they threw it in there and they were going to come back later. Sometimes they had too many tracks to put on an album. But the thing is writing is something that is a skill. You don't want to look for perfection right now. You want to think of these as sketches. Like if you're practicing drawing a tree, well, sometimes you have to draw 1,000 trees to make that one tree amazing looking. And it's the same thing with composing. If you want to get better at composing, you don't have to take the same idea every day, but you do have to write. Okay, you have to be sketching ideas out on your instrument to carve a better path for your future as a writer. Stick to one idea per day. You do not want to overlayer. Like in my case, when I did this one, I literally made that up on the spot, but that could have been my idea. But I also extended it a little further. I made a second part. I did that by accident, but I can actually consider that one big part, as in one riff or one lick or one idea. Or I can have said, hey, you know what? This first idea is going to go into the second half of the song. I don't want you to go to that second half of the song idea yet, because that makes it harder to write for now. Because then you're like, well, how do I gel something to something I've already written? We're not there yet. I'll make a separate video on that. For now, stick to one idea per day. It doesn't have to be on the sixth string. It could be anything. It could be a chord idea. It could be a melody. It could be a solo idea. It could be 3 notes. It could be one chord with a strumming pattern. The idea is you got to move forward with learning how to make ideas. And how do you do that? By sitting there and making ideas on the spot as much as possible. I know I've said this, and I'm going to just make these as bullet points. Don't be too critical on yourself. You're going to suck at this for a while. Every once in a while, you may get a good idea, and then the next one's going to suck, and then it's going to suck, and then it's going to suck, and then another good idea, and then it's going to suck. Write them all down. Keep them somewhere. Double back them up. So for the future. Also, the reason is because the more you do this, the more you're carving ideas to new ideas. You're making space so you can build more ideas around what you're doing and how you're learning and how you're getting better at as a composer. Once again, I'll reiterate, the more you write, the more you grow. I can't stress that enough. I've had points where things just fall in place. If I had my students that are composers, things just fall in place. Sometimes it takes them a year to get that far though. A year, is that long? Not really. If you consider I've been playing 28 years, a long time is 28 years, but not really as well. The thing is you have to write, once again, to grow. As we know, guys, Rome wasn't built in a day. It's saying, it just means be patient with yourself, you know? Uh, be consistent. How often are you going to write? I'm going to make a playlist and start throwing my old sketches. Before I learned how to play piano, the thing I did was I made ideas on piano. The first idea came out when I was 16. I didn't know what I was doing. But recently, within the last 6 years, I am now a piano composer. But I didn't know how to play piano 6 years ago. The first thing I did was write a bunch of sketches every day. And what did I do? I sat down every day with that instrument, not knowing nothing about it. I put my hands on there and I gave myself 20 minutes to 30 minutes a day to write ideas. I did that for about 186 days in 1 year. I didn't keep it going, but every once in a while I kind of started it for maybe a month or two after. But I'll make another video on that, and I'm also going to make a playlist, like I've said, where I throw my sketches from before I even learned how to play piano. I have sketches before I even learned how to play guitar. I learned how to play guitar by making ideas on it and just picking up songs along the way, or friends playing with me on the instruments. But the thing is once again, just to end, and I know I'm sounding completely, and I always have a notebook with me, guys. I'm looking at notes, so I know I sound like I'm completely reiterating myself, but the thing is, guys, it's a skill. It's something you pick up over time. It doesn't matter if you're an amazing guitar player. It doesn't mean you're an amazing writer. You're gonna suck at it for a while. You're gonna have to move forward by doing it consistently. You're gonna get nuggets of, or pockets of gold somewhere along the way, like, oh, this is a good idea, and then it's going to suck again. That's all normal. If you want to move forward, you have to be consistent. And once again, I'm going to make a playlist. Check out my sketches. They may help you, or just at least see how ideas can work. Remember, I had no idea what I was doing. I just started writing, and I'm going to put this video in that playlist. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope that helps, and you can always send me your sketches just so I can hear you getting better. I'd love that. I'll leave my information in the description box below. Thanks.